You're listening to Darling Shine, a podcast by Ellidy Pullin and myself, Chloe Fisher.
Darling Shine is your survival kit to the unexpected shit life throws at you. Good morning, muffins.
Cheers.
Cheers.
6 a.m. for the 6 a.m. club.
It's actually 7:30 p.m. for us. We're having a drop of red and it's sunset outside.
Very stunning.
And we thought we'd better do a little intro. Darling, how's being home in Narrabeen?
Oh, it's been good actually. It's busy. I didn't think I'd be this busy, but I am busy, just like you.
No, it's fucking busy. I'm over it.
Well, my mum was away at the very beginning, so it was like I was with like my sisters and my dad, and that was really chill. And then now we're trying to fit in a lot of things in not many days.
Fuck, it's turbo down here. You get down here and you think you're going to be on a bit of a holiday. It's just like running around. Minnie's been meeting heaps of people and it's been a ball.
I literally can't really drive either because of my arm, obviously. So it's like you're like my taxi.
I'm her taxi and she's like my co-parent. It's so funny.
It's actually hilarious because when we go to like places for lunch or something, you know, you can, when you have to check in, you can check in a dependent and like I check in and then I've got Ellidy as my dependent. So,
but we're actually both so codependent on each other.
Yes, we are.
Honestly, it's so cute seeing all the girls just like literally like on the Gold Coast. That's what it's like too, because everyone up there, just, no one works, everyone has kids. So they're all like, this is my baby too, and like everyone helps bring Minnie up. But like even down here, everyone's like just jumping on board the mum bandwagon, don't you reckon?
We love the mum bandwagon.
So
I'm like, every time I see her, I'm like, I want to.
It's so cute.
It's crazy because like I feel like just even having this 1 week, I'm like, wow, I can just sit there and stare at her and I look at her features. I'm like, this is all changing really fast. Even when we gave her a bath the other day, I was like, wow,
that was so cute.
She was just so relaxed. She was just like a little, I was like, do you feel like you're in the womb again, Minnie?
Because when I bath her, I'm leaning over a tub. Like I get like a bucket.
Yeah.
Well, in Sydney, I didn't bring my bathtubs down here, so I've just got like a bucket and I'm leaning over a bucket and she's kind of just not frothing because I'm not in there with her. So I'm holding her with one hand, trying to bath her with the other. Well, most of the time I just chuck her in the shower with me with a rag and we just clean each other.
Yeah.
Well, I clean her.
It would actually be so hard.
Yeah.
To like mother a child with a broken arm.
Oh,
Take my hat out. Oh, yeah, both.
Chloe, no. Okay, I'm going to have a laugh right now because Chloe's always going on about having one arm and I'm like, me too, because all the time she's fucking breastfeeding, I'm holding her on one tit and I'm walking around. So we both kind of have one arm at the moment.
Yeah.
And then this morning Chloe's like to me, I'm so tired and I have to go home and have a nap. And I'm like, were you up all night feeding an infant, were you?
No, but I actually was. Okay. I wasn't up all night, but I have been doing morning duty sometimes.
No, Chloe's been a legend. So we had our girls' hustler Christmas party.
And yeah, we're not hustlers. We for some reason, since we're in high school, we came up with the name Hustlers. It's actually pretty funny because on Facebook, I started our we've got like a Facebook group called Hustlers and that's just our girl group and it's a bit weird, but and like, you know, like people can request, like people must have searched in the Facebook browser Hustlers and we've got thousands of requests to join the group.
Boy, dudes just wouldn't in. They must think it's some like porno site or something.
There's like 15 chicks on this Hustlers page.
It's so funny.
But we had our Christmas party on the weekend and we're trying to work out we want to address this on our next episode of I was about to say Hustlers of Darling.
Yuck, imagine if we called our podcast the Hustlers Crook.
That's so good.
But we do actually get so many questions about like our girlfriend group from school and why is it so big and why are we all so close, and I think we just got a good grade at school, don't you reckon?
Yeah, I think we just got lucky. I don't think it was but we also merged at the end. So we're like all kind of like you were actually in a separate group than I was in high school and then we like kind of
we were kind of in two different girl groups and then in the end heaps of people left and we merged.
Yeah,
a bit of a vibe at the end.
We've actually got a massive girl group.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty funny. On the weekend we did like this big lunch. We ate some, oh my God, the food was amazing. We had
the food was off
belly.
the chain.
Literally went in and I just like snaked all of the crackling.
It was so I got all the crackling too. Yeah, you and me must have smashed it.
The ones that took it. Yes. Everyone at the end, they're like, where's all the crackling? And I was like, nowhere.
I love it how I didn't really eat meat before I was pregnant, and now when I got pregnant I started eating all meat, and I'm not pregnant anymore. I'm just fucking still frothing on meat. So sorry to the little piggies, but it was so yummy. yeah, so
we all got a little bit drunk. It was pretty funny. Like our Christmas parties have changed. Like they're like black and white to what they used to be. Like it's like mum's gone wild at the moment.
Is it more turbo than before almost because the mums just get fucking litmus?
I think that everyone just gets so drunk and they're just like don't know who they are all of a sudden, and then they start walking around going, "I'm so and so's mum. I'm so and so's." Ellidy's like, "I'm Minnie's mum.
I'm Minnie's mum.
I'm like everyone's someone's mum."
Oh, I'm a pest.
And I'm like, "I'm Ellidy's mum."
Which is true.
Yeah.
Fuck, you're Ellidy and Minnie's mum, let's be honest.
Far out.
But yes, no, don't worry. I expressed a lot of milk. I saved it up all week. Chloe's beautiful mum, Alison, who's honestly the best.
Shout out to our Chapo.
Shout out to our Chapo. We absolutely love you. She looked after Minnie all night. Well, we actually didn't have that much of a late one. We got home at like
midnight.
1. Yeah,
no,
12.
It wasn't even midnight. I mean, It wasn't even 1. It was midnight.
Amazing.
And then we came home. It was my little sister Sophia's 21st, and Ellidy runs in, jumps on her.
So cute. Had my torch in her face. Happy 21st, Sophia! Like ripping her sheets off. She's
With
like,
her
fuck
boyfriend.
off. I am such a pest.
Nah.
Oh, I love it. Shout out to Happy 21st,
yes,
darling.
happy
Does she listen?
21st. So yeah, of course, she better listen.
What a good boy. My family don't listen. They're like, we hear enough of you. You're annoying as fuck.
And I woke up in the morning on Sunday and I said to Ellidy, I was like, "Are you awake downstairs?" Because she had my other sister's bedroom. And she kind of wrote back half an hour later, like, yeah, I am. Come and get the bottle. And I was like, oh, I was just actually saying I'll come down and hang out with you. And she's like, oh, no, maybe you can come down and take Minnie. So
take Minnie, feed her.
I literally came down, took Minnie. I was on full breakfast duty. Luckily, she had like a few more milks left, but I fed Minnie, bathed her, rocked her in the pram. Then she kind of got a bit unsettled and everyone was kind of pissing me off at home. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to just take her up, and me and Minnie got into bed and we just like had a little nurse, and then she started squawking. I was like, you know what? I think it's time. Mind you, it's like 11 a.m. and Ellidy's still just sound asleep. I was like, she needs your milk now. So come on.
I was literally milking it. I was like, no. I've expressed enough milk for you guys to be fucking bottle feeding her. I'm sleeping in. Take her away.
So good.
But then it's weird because when she's not, like, when I wake up and she's like not there, I'm like, where's Minnie? And then I remember you were upstairs with her, and I'm like,
Ellidy came upstairs, and in the room she like pulled her top down and her tits were like the most like weirdest looking things I've ever seen in my life. They were just like lumpy and big. Like one was huge, one was small. Like just, and she's like, dude, I need to get this out. And then like Sweet touches her boob and it just squirts everywhere.
Oh,
it's like,
yeah. Also, bit of extra lols. I don't know if anyone's going to be laughing at this, or our group is pretty fucking cooked because we've been together since like high school, so we've all known each other forever, and we share weird things, including bodily fluids. I don't know.
Where is this going?
This is where everyone's like, spray me with your breast milk, and I'm like squeezing my tit and doing like proper like soaking everyone.
I know. One of the boys actually came over in the evening, and Ellidy just like caught him off guard and squirted her breast milk in his face, and he's like, whoa. He's like, if it was anyone else, I think I would deck them.
Fuck it. It's all natural, doll. So if you eat cow's milk, you can eat breast milk. Yum.
Yes. Eat.
Anyway, eat. But no, I know what you mean. You get home and you're like 30 and you come home to stay with your parents, and like obviously your family are lovely. They're the best ever, but you're still like, do you find you're just like, I can't come home to my family.
I feel like because I've lived out of home so long now, I'm like, I need my own space. And I just moved into our other friend's apartment now, so I'm here for the week. But yeah, you're meeting Chumpy's parents, or Minnie's meeting Chumpy's parents this weekend.
So Minnie's been busy meeting everyone, and she's about to meet Chump's parents, which is so exciting. Oh, we just cannot wait because she's actually still miniature. Like she's still sometimes even squeezing into fucking 5 zeros, like clothing. But so Chump's family, his dad's like down south, but we're all going to have like a weekend away, hopefully in like Wollongong or Kiama area this weekend. We're getting like a little Airbnb and going to hang out. It's going to be so really cute. Nice. And it'll be Chump's sister's birthday. So I'm so excited to see them and cuddle them. God. And they're going to lose it over Minnie, and it's just going to be a big, emotional, beautiful weekend with our little miniature chump
They're
there.
gonna love it. They're gonna love her so much.
I know,
She actually looks so much like Chumpy. I feel like every day, like the more she grows, even looking at those photos of when Chumpy was a baby, I'm like that. Sorry, you didn't get you didn't get a start, but like just yet. Maybe she'll get maybe she'll get your personality.
No. I would rather. I'd be so upset if she came out looking like me and like nothing like Chump. But people are starting to say, "Oh, she's really looking like you," and I'm like, "No. I want her to look like Chump." Yeah. But I hope she has his talent and personality. I hope she doesn't have my personality because I'm a pest. But yeah, what else have you done? You've been running around
my wrist.
Oh, your wrist.
I've got a second opinion. Well, actually, I got a second opinion, and basically they're like, yeah, your wrist isn't sitting properly, so it's going to need to be like tweaked a little bit. So I'm actually seeing a surgeon this week to potentially knock me out and try and like realign it. So it's like, because it's about 10 degrees, like not the right way, which I kind of knew, and I cannot believe in America they did not tell me I needed surgery. But we're going to try and avoid the surgery and get it just like repositioned. But if not, we might have to have surgery, which is really annoying because I like need my right hand back. I still can't wash my hair, put my hair up.
I think the thought of it being in this cast and healing the wrong way is so much worse than just biting the bullet and getting the fucking surgery.
I would be absolutely ropeable if in like 6 weeks' time they're like, actually, no, sorry, it didn't heal properly. Like I'd be like, fuck, somebody needs to lose their job.
Yeah. Literally. like how do they get away with that?
Yeah, I know. It's so random.
But what else is random is our we've just found out we've hit 1 million downloads.
Yes. So thank you for listening, everybody.
Thank you, darlings.
We're having a party.
On a
Sorry,
boat.
None of you guys got invited because it was so last minute, and then we could only get a 40-person boat, so we're actually just going to throw a party for our friends. So we'll have lots of stories after that.
We feel really bad though, because the plan was actually to fuck our friends off and have like a bunch of randoms on the boat, and like people have helped us out, so like some of the sponsors and things like that on board. But it was all way too late noticing because it's Christmas time and we're just like close onto everything, but I'm very last minute with everything. So we like physically just could not get a date on the boat until this Thursday. We literally planned these Chloe's planned it. Well, I haven't done anything 3 days ago. So there was just no way we could have done it soon, like any late, like, you know, if we could have planned it for February or something, we'd obviously want to get all you guys on board.
But I'm going to be back at the end of January at some point. So we're going to try, like, we're going to work ahead of time, and we're going to try and organise like something in maybe like Sydney, Gold Coast, maybe Melbourne.
Oh my God, Melbourne? Fuck, it's a bit cold down there.
All right, well, we can flag Melbourne. Sorry, all the girls that are listening from Melbourne. Ellidy doesn't want to come down there.
Is it summer? I don't know.
No, it's not. Well, it is. But
maybe it is hot down there. I don't know.
Do
we need to go to Melbourne? No, the Melbourne need to fly to us. No, anyway. But what we would do is sell tickets and then potentially go to like a charity or something like that, like to raise money, or, you know, make it a beautiful event where we all get to hang out, do a little hilarious Q&A.
But we just want to do it properly. Yeah. So like we were like, this is going to be rushed if we do it. So then we just figured we'll just throw a little party for our...
A little party where our friends can go get Lito.
But yeah. But anyway, this week's episode is actually... I'm so excited about this. Ellidy and I, we've both been massive fans of this woman for a very long time. I mean, I've loved her since she owned her swimwear label. I followed her forever, and her name is Lyndie Irons, and we are very, very, very excited for this episode. But yeah.
She's beautiful and so amazing. You guys are going to
love her.
Yeah, you guys are going to love this episode, I hope. It's emotional, but it's beautiful. She gives me so much, like, courage, I feel. Yeah. She's so cute. She's beautiful.
Wait until you hear her voice, by the way.
Oh, she's so cute. We are such bogans. I literally can't deal with listening to me. You're fine, but my boganness and her beautiful little voice kills me. It's so cute. But yeah, enjoy, darlings.
Enjoy the episode. Yay,
bye.
So a very warm welcome to Lyndie, a woman who I've looked up to for many years. For me, it first began when I started following you actually when you owned a swimwear label, and I used to seriously have 100 of your swimwear pieces, and I was like, I want to do this, I want to do this. So I actually started my own swimwear label because of you. So I looked up to you, Lyndie, in every single way. But today we don't have Lyndie here to talk about bikinis, but we want to talk to her both about widowhood and motherhood, two topics very close to Ellidy and I's heart. But before we begin, I want to rewind and tell you a little bit about Lyndie's story. Lyndie was married to iconic 3 times world surfing champion Andy Irons. Lyndie and Andy met back in 2002 in a bar in California, and I read in an interview that Andy said, I thought she was the most beautiful girl I've ever seen. And he absolutely ain't wrong, because you are one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen in my life.
You are stunning.
Yeah, their love story was truly one made in heaven. They were surfing's royal couple. Lyndie travelled on tour with Andy as his wife and manager until he sadly passed away in 2010, while Lyndie was 8 months pregnant with their son, Axel. So fast forward to now, Lyndie's miracle bubba, Axel, is actually about to turn 11, which is pretty amazing. And so, yeah, Lyndie, we both have such admiration for you and respect, and we are honoured to have you today. So welcome to Darling Shine.
Thank you so much.
Lyndie, I've been crying all morning, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, me too.
If I cry.
No, me too. I cry all the time, but I cry already crying, like knowing I'm gonna cry. Like I'm like, I cry all the time. I mean, and still, I feel like I'm always like the bearer of bad news, because it's been 11 years and that pain just never goes away. Never. It's like I cry like it was yesterday all the time. But I feel like I'm like the bearer of bad news. I swear. Maybe other people feel different, but I don't know. It's dreadful.
I'm so glad you're on here, Lyndie. Oh, you're the best. I think Chloe and I'm sure you were there. I'm not I don't know. I can't remember. It was years ago. We went and saw Kissed by God, Andy, or your documentary, right? And that was years ago. We went and saw the premiere in Cremorne, and I remember thinking, holy shit, this woman is amazing. How has this happened, you know? And now I'm essentially in similar shoes, and yeah, we've just also done a documentary, and what the fuck? So I cannot wait to talk to you.
Say that every day still. Like, what the fuck?
You're just amazing, and I think about you literally every single day. Like you help me keep going every day.
Thank you.
You're 10 years ahead of me. I mean, every situation's so different, but yeah.
Thank you.
Wow.
That's why I got through a lot of, I feel like there's steps of, I don't ever want to say healing. You never heal, but I've always really gotten the best advice from other widows, like the best, that like I hold dear to me, and then like kind of helps me, you know. And then I don't know, we're in this terrible club together. It's like the widows club, but we can
literally,
you know, lean on each other and help each other, because people really truly don't understand.
Yeah, definitely a club nobody wants to be a part of.
It's like a terrible one.
It's like every widow that I talk to, I'm always like, holy shit, you are just amazing. You're so strong. And I don't think anyone feels that they actually are. Yeah, I don't feel strong. And people tell me
Oh, you're amazing. Because my sister-in-law, Mia, she reached out to me, and she's like, she sent me a link to your story. She's like, have you seen this girl? I mean, because she was with me since day one. She's like, how amazing is she? How strong is she? And when I read through your whole story, I'm like, oh my God, you're so much cooler than me. You're so much stronger than me. You're just like killing it. I was just so impressed. But that's how I think.
I'm not
yeah,
cool,
you just
and
look
I'm
like
not strong.
Yes, but you are, and you're handling this with so much grace and amazingness, and your openness to share your story is so helpful, like beyond helpful and amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel like every widow's like to each other, or everyone's like to every widow, you're so strong. How do you do it? But I just think we don't have a choice, and like you feel like you want to die, but that's not really an option. Like, I mean, of course it is an option, but it's not real. I mean, for me, that's not an option. And so you just literally do have to put one foot in front of the other and keep moving, and you just have to survive. And people look at you like, how the fuck are you doing that? And you're like, I just don't have a choice. And I just like, I don't feel strong at all. I just feel like I have to somehow get up every day and do it.
Right. Put one foot in front of the other.
So I really wanted to speak to you first to start this off by saying I noticed on your Instagram, maybe it was a month or two ago, that you were doing what would seem probably a massive milestone since the passing of Andy. And I believe that you were packing all of Andy's belongings into storage. You had Axel there, and like I can imagine it was extremely bittersweet. And probably one of the hardest things you've had to do to date. I just really wanted to chat to you a little bit about that and see if you wanted to speak through about the moment that made you realize like this was the time, because obviously it's been nearly, did you say 11 years since his passing?
Gosh, it's been one of the hardest things I've had to do in a long time. I go mostly off of Axel, and I've done that in the last 11 years, or since I've had him 10 years. I can tell lately he really misses him, and he talks I mean, that's just like a whole nother deal, but I just knew that it was healthiest for Axel. I mean, every time he walks through the garage, it's amazing. It's all Andy's stuff, and it's photos of him, and all his trophies, all his winnings, all the stuff that meant the most to Andy is what I kept in the garage. I mean, he loved his trophies. He loved his surfboards more than anything, and he was so proud of all that. So I kept it, and I felt like I was kind of keeping him in there, in a creepy way. I don't know if you've put away Chumpy stuff, but it's really I don't know. I feel like a hoarder. Like I've kept every little detail and every little thing that he's ever owned. I've never given out one thing of his. People ask me all the time. They're like, "Oh, can we get a surfboard, or can we get one of his old trunks?" And I'm like, no, like I keep every single, all his stuff. But I think just lately Axel's been, I just thought it was healthiest for Axel, because when his friends are now older and they're all surfing, and then they've kind of realized actually who Axel is, especially his closest little crew. And then I just felt like it was, I should put that away for Axel's sake. So, there's not so much, I don't know. I felt it. I don't know. Just felt like it was time for Axel, and probably good for me. It was very healing. I actually couldn't pack up any of it. I had to hire people to come and do it because I was so devastated. But Axel was in there, and we talked a lot. We walked through there, and I'm like, "Is there anything you want to keep?" And he had me keep, which I left up in there, a photo of Andy and Bruce that he just loved, and that's all that's in the garage now. Yeah, so yeah, but it's really hard. Stuff like that is. I just feel like I've like if his things weren't here, like I was getting rid of him, or he was gone, and I still feel that, and I feel guilty. But it's just part of it, and it's in storage. It's in Louis, so I can drive an hour and go in there. But I don't know. I just used to find comfort in all that stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Gosh, no, he'd be so proud of you. He would be so proud of you, because he wouldn't want you living like, he wants you to release that, and like you heal every time you do as well.
I know. I feel like I could be on that show, Hoarders. I feel like they're all like suffering from trauma. They have trauma. You know what I mean? There's something in their life that really hurt them. So I don't know.
It's funny because I grew up with my dad, like his house is just cluttered. Like there's just things everywhere, and you try and throw things out and he doesn't let you. You have to like sneak it past him to throw things out. And Chump and I have a pretty big house, but we love, like, I'd say we're quite clean. Like I have things, but like we're quite organized and everything's in its place. And Chump's very, like, he's a bit of a perfectionist and OCD. So I know that, like, I think of what he would say to me, and he'd be like, get rid of it, let it go, like give this away, give that away. And I kind of...
You did that? You are stronger than me.
No, well, I don't know. Maybe I just don't want to... Yeah, I don't know. I had to make room for baby as well, and a few things, but I make sure that things that, if I am giving it away, it's going to like his best friends and like good friends are having some of his clothes or something like that.
Ellidy's one of the most generous people I know. Like, I'm sure if there was someone down the street that needed a jacket, she'd be like, you know what? I've got one at home. I'll go home and get that for you. She's like,
do you feel like, because obviously he's just an amazing human and he's made so much history, and there's movies on him, there's so much footage. So do you feel like, of course, given all that, Axel has a sense and knows like his dad pretty well?
Totally. I'm so grateful that most of his life is documented. So, I mean, since he was probably 10 years old, like there's just so much documentation. But when I was making his movie, the guys that made the movie actually compiled all, the footage and all his life since he was 10 and made a huge, chunks of movies, but for Axel, like when he's older. But I see him, he's like on YouTube, like he'll, watch stuff on him, he'll look it up, but he's just, he knows him really well. And everybody, his spirit and his legacy is still so, it's so huge, in his life. So he's lucky.
Lyndie, I wanted to rewind a little bit back to when Axel was first born, because you obviously had to find your feet in like motherhood and widowhood at the same time. Was it all just like a bit of a blur? Because I know like obviously Minnie was born around a little bit over a year after Chumpy passed away. So she kind of had her time between the death of Chumpy and the birth of Minnie. Do you remember much of it, or was it just like a massive blur because Axel was born a month after
he was due
passed?
On Christmas, actually. Andy and I planned him. He always had January and February off the tour, so, and he always had the surf contest here in Oahu during the winter, so we planned him to have him in December, and it worked. But I blew up, like I think I gained like 20 pounds in 2 weeks, and they got him out like right away. They were so concerned about Axel. I don't think I even slept for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I don't remember how long it was, but I remember the doctor coming out here. Our hospital is like an hour away, and he would drive up here and do an ultrasound like every few days to make sure that Axel was okay. And he made a call. He's just like, we got to get him out because you're just like, I was just in such shock. I think I was in shock for like, I think years. I feel like I just never, I don't know. I never got to, I don't know. I think that's why I go so big on Axel's birthday, because I feel so guilty that I was in such like shock. I mean, I was so numb to like feelings that like, even when I had him, I was like, oh, because everyone was saying like, oh my gosh, it's a better love than like you had with Andy. It's this like special, genuine, like this connection. And I was just like, I was in such shock, like the first whole year or two of his life. So I swear that's why his birthdays are like, I'm taking him and his 6 friends here to the wave pool in Texas for his birthday. I just always go like huge because I think it's a guilt thing. It was the worst time in my life when it was just supposed to be like the happiest. And I just like, God, I wish I could do it all over again. Like no one, I don't know, just be numb, like just sucks, even all Axel's first, the first are what like kills you the most. Like you're supposed to be like so excited. They like smile for the first time, or they walk, or they laugh. And it hurts your core so bad. 'Cause like Andy wasn't here. Like I don't have someone to like share like the first of anything. And it's just, that's like the hardest part of having a little VOC. It's just, most of the time I was like you, I was never alone. I had like literally like 5 of my friends with me at all times. And even my best friend from California moved here with her husband to help me raise Axel. I had like so many people around me. So like he would do something for the first time and I'd have my friends, but like inside I'm like, God, how is Andy not here? Like, you don't have that like that I don't know, your partner, your love, to share something so special. That I don't know. That's what I remember the most, like being so traumatic is Axel's childhood. Like how painful, it's so painful when it's supposed to be so happy. You're supposed to be like so happy. I mean, you are happy, but it's just, it's different. I feel like I don't know. I wish I could redo it.
Definitely.
Right?
Yes. I mean, he's only 3 weeks, but I can just imagine what I've got coming. Like, and I feel like it's the best thing in the world. And like, I'm sure Axel is your whole, Axel's your whole world and the best thing. And
Yeah.
you must be so stoked that, like, glad that you have him. But yeah, and I'm going to learn to know exactly what you're talking about. Like at every corner, it'll be like, where the hell is Chump, and why is like, no, this is just not the way that it was meant to be for us.
No,
like you and me, like it's just
no, it's not fair at all.
Completely different. It's meant to be the most, it's meant to be a completely different way, and obviously it's just so bittersweet. And I know what you mean about the feelings thing, because I feel like I have other things going on in my life with sick family members dying, and I physically feel so numb, and I feel like I just talk about death so like you know, just like it's nothing now, because I feel like numb. It's just bizarre. It's an awful feeling, but it's like, it's like a refuge, but it's also just, you feel like a robot.
Right. At times just to get through, right?
Exactly. So how old were you when Andy passed away, and how old was he?
He was 32 and I was 28.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Wow, because Chumpy was 32 and I was 28. I was 28. I've just turned 29. How strange. Oh my goodness. Isn't that funny? That's not funny at all. I don't like it, but that's wild. That's just too young. Yeah, nothing about this is funny.
It's too young. It's crazy. It's not I don't know. Your life seemed very similar to mine, with, you know, the love and the passion and the traveling and the wonderfulness in life. And then it's like literally someone just like zapped it from you. You're like, what?
I feel very lucky, like you said, like we've got so much footage of them. Like their lives have been documented, and there's so much footage of like Andy and Chumpy like talking, and that like really you get to feel their energy and their character that we can show our kids. So it's like they can really get to know them. Because of course so many people don't have that. I mean, I bloody film everything, but so many people don't do that. Like, no, I often think something's wrong with me. Put your phone down.
But that's why I feel I have so much comfort in Kauai. It's like every single person knows who Axel is, and I have so much love here. Like it's crazy. Like, you know, I think he's the most special human because of the love that he receives. He just like, everyone just like is so kind to him and adores him. And now he's like this beautiful, like young man that's like full of life and happiness. And like, you know, I feel like if, you know, we're so lucky in that way, you know what I mean? Which it's in the worst scenario, we also have
special.
Yeah, he is. He's very cute, but he has a lot of love.
You have a village around you, because it takes a village. I didn't realize that until now. It takes a village to raise a child. And you've just got the most amazing community around you. And I assume like they keep Andy's spirit alive. Like do you love talking about him with people? Because I know a lot of widows just don't want to talk, or don't want people to bring their partner up.
No, I do. I think I sometimes, you know, I'm finding like right now with that shift with the garage with Axel, I can kind of see that, you know, a lot of people come up to him and tell him how wonderful his dad is. And, you know, there's fans and like people, mostly when we're like in California or Oahu or traveling, whatever. But I've been seeing a little tiny bit of like sadness. You know, I think when you keep telling a little kid how amazing their dad is, and then they don't get to see them, you know, like I'm like, oh God, is this like, is this like bumming him out, or is it okay? But I'm so like aware of him. So I'm actually a little bit more reserved now when people do say things. I've been cutting it off a little bit just right now. This is new. I just am kind of,
Really?
yeah. But normally, I mean, if Axel's not around, I'll talk about him for, I don't know. I'm just in this real fragile, it's just a weird little time, 10 to 11. I think puberty, or I don't know, is coming around the corner, more emotions. So I'm just
Definitely.
I'm kind of just a little bit leery, but yeah, no, I love talking about him, and I'm so lucky that he still is so, alive, and people want to talk about him. It's amazing, and it's part of, I do love talking about it. It doesn't make me sad; it makes me happy. But
Yeah.
just
You
lately,
wouldn't have it any other way. You want
No.
his spirit to be alive, but
Yeah.
of course you're always going to go through those little shifts where
Right.
you're going to feel funny about it and want to protect him a little bit, protect his emotions.
Yeah. Well, I think that, when he gets my only concern is that he's going to be okay, and you'll probably feel the same way about your daughter, that this doesn't affect them in a negative way, that it's only a positive thing, but we don't know that yet. So just trying to navigate through and make sure that, I'm doing the best I can for him. I mean, Billabong, what they've done with Andy's legacy and the contest at Pipe, and Axel loves going over there and handing out the trophy. Like, he just like thinks it's the coolest thing in honor of his dad, and that is amazing. And I think we're going to head over there in January, but, so that stuff is great. It's just sometimes, people coming up to him and adult conversations, like people forget, he's still 10, he's just a little guy. So get a little bit protective.
Speaking of age, what age did he sort of start asking about his dad, and like how did you explain that?
That's gonna be like the most dreadful day of your life, because I think how kids process is that they say things on repeat. So when he could start to talk, he'd be like, "Mom, mom, mom, where's dad? Where's my dad? Like, where's my dad? Where's my dad?" And I'd be like, "Oh my God." And to tell a little human that he's dead is like, for as tough as we are, and we can, talk about death like it's no big deal. When it comes to the kids, like, it's just like, it's beyond painful, but he's just repetitive because he's processing it. And I'd be like, he's dead. But the advice I got from a therapist was, be as honest as you can be, like bluntly honest. As much as it hurts you, it will be more helpful for your son, because he needs to process this as well. So I don't know. Right when he started talking, he would ask. I wrote down. I journaled like a ton when he was little. And then it went from, why did he die? Why did he die? Why did he? Why? And then it's like the next question, but it's just repetitive. And it's even like hard now. The things he asks, I'm just like, there's some funny ones though. He's like, "Oh, has dad gone to jail?" I'm like, "Yeah." Like,
Oh
yeah,
my gosh.
there's fun,
Oh my God.
funny humor and stuff, but most of the time the questions still just like kill me. It's painful, but I'm always honest.
Because what is death to them? They don't know what death is. They haven't seen, or they may not have had someone die yet, like when they're 3 and they start talking and they're asking those questions.
Yeah, and like why he doesn't have a dad and all his friends have a dad is just like, it's just gut-wrenching. I don't know, but
I can imagine he's got a ton of father figures though, because Andy has a brother, Bruce, and then I'm sure that he's got every man in Hawaii, you're from Kauai. They're like his father. He must be like, God, well, I guess it's different if it was a little girl, because they're like, well, I'm not going to be able to get away with anything.
Yeah, no, oh, he just came home. Hi, honey. Where are you going? Tennis. Okay, I love you. Bye.
I love you, Axel. I'm proud of you.
Oh, I know. I'm so lucky. Like I said, Kauai, Oahu, Bruce. Bruce, like, I just, I don't know where I'd be without him, and his younger years, especially, we were so close and tight, and we raised our kids together here, and I just yeah, I don't know, but all the uncles here are so protective and so loving and so a part of his life, so present, so even all his little buddies' dads that all surf, um, I find myself being more of like a dad than like a mom, because I always felt like Axel was missing out on having a dad. So I was such like a little weirdo. I would like coach all his, all his soccer, all his teams, all his basketball, and I learned how to. I mean, I surfed forever with Andy, but I never even had to paddle. Like I never even had to like lift an arm. And I would surf like the best waves ever. And I had to learn how to surf.
Because he would push you onto them.
Yeah, but I had to, I learned to surf so that I could teach him. And like, I still,
Oh my gosh.
My partner now, Pat, he just thinks I'm so funny because he's like, you can, he's getting older now. You can be the mom now. And I'm like, no, like, I started tennis because all of a sudden he's into tennis. But I just feel like I'm so much more of a dad than a mom, his whole younger years, because I always felt like he was missing out on, that part.
For sure. I always say I'm going to be a mum and a dad in one. You are literally my inspiration. I'm going to be on the footy field. Don't know a thing about footy, but I'll be like,
I wrestle with them.
Left. I don't know.
I know. I
wrestle already.
Oh, don't worry. Ellidy will be wrestling with Minnie. She's strong.
You're just amazing, Lyndie. Wow. Do you see like little characteristics in Axel that are like Andy, like things that he's taken on without,
even knowing him, he has the same mannerisms, and there's something about when he turns like his profile that is like it like stops me in my tracks, and I'm just like, but it's like every day I see it, and it still is like he's here, and he's like in him, like there's little moments where I still get to see that, and I'm so thankful. And anyone that's close to Andy, anyone that's like one of his closest friends, like literally will cry when they like see him and he starts talking. They're like, oh my god, he talks like him. He says the same things that like he would say, and I'm like, yeah, I know, like he's a part of him, and there's a little piece of him. I always feel like he gave me the very best, the best part of him, and that's Axel. I'm so lucky.
That gives me complete goosebumps.
I know. You'll see it.
I know that Ellidy gets a lot of people telling her that it was, it was for a reason the universe picked him, or it was his time to go. Like obviously to you guys and everyone else, it's nowhere, like it's not their time to go. Like, are you spiritual at all? Like,
I got real anti. I remember when Andy passed, and people would come to me and have their stories of like, more, I think like the religious stuff I got really, which is so weird because like I swear all my like closest friends are super religious, like now, like really religious, which is so interesting. But I got really turned off with it all happened for a reason, that thing. And I think that's more of a religious thing. And, so many people would share stories with me that, he came to them in their dreams or this and that. And I always had like a little bit of a blocker up, I just would be like, or they'd reach out to me and be like, oh, I've talked to him. He wants me to say this to you. And I just would always be, whatever. But he always comes to me when I need him every single time. Like every time I'm having a issue with Axel, or I'm just so like distraught, emotional, like, or something's not going right that has to do with Axel, or even in my life, he always shows up, always, like no matter what. Like it's crazy. He's even come to me like angry, like so angry. It was the first time I've ever had a dream like this, but I was sleeping, and he had his shirt off, and he came at me, and all I could feel was like him screaming, and I was so scared, and I cried for like a week straight. I'm like, what did I do? Did I do something wrong, like with Axel? Like, I mean, he comes to me like that powerfully, but
wow.
anyways, it ended up being something like really heavy, like really, really heavy that I don't know if I want to share publicly, but he it's like he warned me, you know, it's crazy. And that I still feel him. He's so present, but I never go and look for it. You know, I know a lot of people do, you know, ayahuasca and like try to connect with the spiritual world or try to connect, you know, with someone that's passed. I never did that with Andy. He always shows up, you know, so because I think I have my little blocker on for everybody else, that he's just, I don't know, he shows up when I need him. And there's a lot of signs. Axel says things sometimes and I like trip out. I think kids are more connected to the spiritual world compared to us. You'll see. He said stuff his whole little life. Like he would tell me, "Oh, Dad's happy right now, Mom," and I'd be like, "What?" And I'm like, "How do you know?" Like when he was like little, and he's like, "Because he told me." But he's so little to not even like make that up. You know what I mean? I'm like, what? So I think he's always had a connection with him too. We've never really talked about that kind of stuff, but I've always said, and even when I'm sad, every time I cry, he's like, "Are you crying about Dad? Are you crying about Dad?" And you know, and most of the time, yeah. And I'm like, of course. And he goes, well, he's always with us. Remember, he's always here. He's, you know, so he's just so like in tune with it too, which is amazing.
Gosh.
Yeah. But I'm thankful, you know, because, you know, I don't know. I know of a lot of widows that have kind of, I don't know if you have, but have searched or like tried to connect. And I always feel like, I don't know, that scares me. It's a little, I'm scared of that realm. I don't know.
Yeah. I think at the start I was always trying to find signs and look for signs, or just like everything felt like it was a sign. And I think a lot of it is coincidences that you try and make it into this and that. But then as time goes on, I've definitely stopped doing that. Like I was seeing mediums and psychics all the time. And I think yeah, really? Well, I've had incredible experiences with them, and they tell me things that only Chumpy would know, and only like personal jokes and things that like, it's just like so clear that they are able to connect with him so strongly. But then it's funny, as time goes on, I've definitely stopped seeing people, but every now and again I do feel like not connected to Chump, and I do, like, at the moment I think it's time for me to go and see someone and like get that connection back. But I only really trust, there's only really two really good mediums that I trust. I've been to a few that are like con artists, and that you just, yeah, they pretty much say, does his name start with like A, B, C, D? They like name the alphabet, and you're like, shut up.
Well, actually, I don't want to interrupt you. I'm so sorry. But the reason I don't go is because when I had just married Andy in 2007, I went to one, and he said it was a guy, or it was like I was at like a carnival thing with a bunch of my girlfriends, and he said that you are not going to be with the person that you just married. You have two people in your life. This is not who you're going to spend the rest of your life with. So I'm like, I don't, that's why I'm so scared and he was right. So I'm like, I don't know. It scares.
That's
it's
wild.
a little, right? It's a little scary to me.
Okay, it's funny because before Chump passed away, I was so against that stuff. And when my friends would go, I was like, why do you want to know the future? That's so creepy. It's scary. Don't be in touch with the spiritual side, because there's scary spirits. And I mean, I just didn't entertain that stuff at all. I just thought it was all bullshit. And then like how you saw that psychic before Andy passed, and they kind of alluded to that, like that just freaks me out so much. But since Chump's not here, I've definitely felt like I want to grasp onto anything I can get, but not anymore. I wait for signs to come to me, and I know instantly if it's a real sign and if it's really Chump or not. And I don't even tell people, or I don't even need to prove it ever. It's just like a knowing. But I love it when it happens to friends, because I don't know, like the other day, it was my friend's birthday. He's a really good friend of Chump as well, and he, on his birthday, went out to Chumpy's Reef where Chumpy passed away on his jet ski. And it was his birthday, and he saw this silver thing floating in the water, and he was like, oh, what's that? Thought it might be like a stingray floated to, like a dead fish or something. It was like this silver thing. And so he went over to it, and it was literally right above Chumpy's Reef, exactly where he passed away, and it was this balloon in the water that said happy birthday on it.
Oh,
Yeah. And you know, he's not a spiritual guy at
Oh my
all.
God.
And he told me straight away, and he was like, what the fuck? It's my birthday. I'm above Chumpy's Reef. There's a balloon in the water that catches my eye. I go over to it and it said happy birthday. It could have said, you know, 18 or 21 on it or something, but it, like, you know, it's just amazing. And for sure that's Chump.
right.
Wow.
Yeah. I love those stories. Yeah. And Andy's friends too. They always send me a text and tell me, you know, if he's come to them in their dreams or whatever. And I love all that stuff. But like, I feel like I took on like everybody else's, you know, everybody shared like so much, you know, with me that it turned me off. And with what the guy said, I'm like, oh my God, that guy was right. Like, I am never going back to, you know, a medium again. Like, this is, you know, right?
Yeah.
He was right. And I even remember crying to my mom because I was like freshly married. And my mom was like, oh, like, don't worry about it. Like, I didn't even like cry to my girlfriends. I remember telling my mom was like, I can't believe that. I remember that. Like, I was just so devastated. And then it happened. So I was like, eh. But yeah, but he comes. And I think maybe when your daughter's a little bit older, there'll be even more, you know, signs. I do believe that they are around. I really do believe that he's here, you know, and always with us. I believe that. And I believe nothing bad will ever happen to Axel. Like, there's no way. And your daughter. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like that's the worst. That's the worst possible scenario. And now they have guardian angels and they're just gonna, you know, nothing bad can happen to them anymore now. They can't.
I always say nothing bad can ever happen to me again because the worst thing in the world has just happened. So how could it get worse? But maybe it's just also that we've just got these amazing, like you said, guardian angels protecting us now, and they're just going to look after Axel and Minnie and us, I hope.
Yeah.
Lyndie, how do you literally keep such a positive mindset? And like how, like obviously you're emotional, Ellidy, you're emotional. Obviously the worst things ever have happened in both of your lives, but like how do you actually just where do you get that?
I think it's I work really hard to be happy is what I always say. Like I work really hard at it. You know, it doesn't come like naturally anymore to me. Like I feel like all my, you know, part of my happiness died that day too. You know, I work really hard at, you know, being happy for my son and for myself. And I think that has to do with Andy. I mean, I feel like since his passing, I live more like he did. You know, he was just so like crazy, like full on, like, you know, jammed everything he could possibly in one day. And I'm more of like a relaxed, like hippie vibe where like just cruisy, where now I do that. Like I cram like 100,000 things into one day and more activity wise, like Andy, like, you know, like surfing and skateboarding and like, you know, we hurry through school. But I work, those are the things that make me happy and make me feel alive. And if I didn't do those things, I would probably be like crying in my kitchen like every day. So I'm just really active to, you know, to be happy. You know, I think it's I don't know, my happiness kind of got swept away a few, 11 years ago, and I just got to work at it now.
I couldn't agree with you more. I do feel, I mean, there's no right and wrong, but I feel like this, I don't know, not pressure, but I feel like I need to honor Chump by living and doing what he would want me to do. And sometimes, it's like this fine line between feeling guilty for trying to get out there and stay so alive and happy, and then also feeling really guilty if I'm not doing that, if I'm crying or if I'm depressed. Like I'm feeling guilty for doing both. So, but I know what you mean. My neighbor actually said to me, I was worried, like when she saw me for the first time after everything happened, she said to me, I'm just so worried you're going to lose your sparkle and your shine. Like, and that just killed me so much. And straight away was like, Chump, that's why Chump loves me. I can't lose that. Like I'll do anything to hold on to that. And it's just like a thing that's been in my head. And I didn't want my personality or my character to change as a result of that. So I hear everything that you're saying. So you almost embodied Andy and just kind of turned into that for him. And I just tried to hang on to what I already had for Chumpy.
Yeah, I feel like I've changed. It's this pressure of actually being okay. Like you gotta be okay. You know, like I always think like if I'm not okay, then like my whole world's gonna crumble. And like I have, I work really hard. I don't think I was even remotely like the person I am today before Andy passed. I don't know. I've turned into just I don't know. Or I never had to work at or fight to be happy, and I fight really hard to be happy and work hard at it. So
fuck, you are so amazing. I know that there's a balance, and you obviously have like a really, really down time, but wow, it's just amazing to even to say that out loud. Like it is hard work, just living and doing each day and showing up and putting on that brave face. That's fucking hard, Yaka.
Yeah. Well, I think Instagram makes you look like you're just killing it,
Yeah, for sure.
In which most of the time, everybody is, and everybody should be killing it and having a good time. But like real life stuff, it's like, I have no shame in saying, I work hard at being happy. It doesn't come easy as it used to. So, yeah.
That is so true.
Or maybe it's getting older. Maybe we get like, I don't know. When you're young, you don't have as many responsibilities and life is wonderful. Or my 20s were, it was wild and fun. And then, the older you get, the
more... you have to actually work on
yes.
showing, on like literally just smiling. It's like a thing you have to like fucking focus on doing.
Right.
You guys make it look very easy though.
It is so true. Like Instagram is just a highlight reel. I like to think I'm real on there, but like I don't know if I think I am, because I actually am living and happy since Chump's passed away, crazily enough. But yeah, like I don't ever film the really bad times, do I, Chloe? Like really. But that's why I have this podcast, because we talk about it.
Right.
So this is where I'm real as well. I don't know.
No.
Yeah.
I don't even know who I am anymore.
Lyndie, so obviously like it's actually so crazy like after having this conversation with you both, because you were pretty much almost a replica of where Elle was nearly 11 years ago, like same age. Your partners were the same age when they passed away. You've both given birth to your miracle babies, but now you're I guess fast forward 11 years ahead of Ellidy. What advice would you be able to give Ellidy for the years to come? Is there anything that like really, really helped you?
Oh, that's a hard one. That got me through it. I think leaning on, which I can tell you have such a good support group around you, but letting your friends letting you be you, and your circle is probably the most important part of these whole next, especially your daughter's little childhood, is having wonderful friends that just allow you to be you. And if you want to ugly cry and you want to freak out, then no judgments, I feel like you just surround yourself with like amazing people is the only way to get through these next, I don't know, for the rest of your life. I feel like, it's hard, it's so hard being a single mom. And, I don't know any different. I really don't. I don't know if it's actually, sometimes I think it's easier because my partner now, I'm always the one in charge. I tell Axel, what to do. And when he says something, I'm like, wait, like that's my baby. So I think it's kind of maybe a little bit easier. You don't have to argue with someone to, to raise a child. But I think just who you surround yourself with, make sure you just have an amazing support group is just all that's going to get you through, the hard times, I believe.
Like everything in life, surround yourself with good people, but also letting them in and letting them help you.
Yes.
Like that's the thing I struggle with, because I'm always like, no, I'm fine, I've got this. But definitely now I'm like, can you actually take Minnie? I just want to have a sleep or something like that. Like I'm definitely delegating. My friend came over this morning. I'm like, do my washing for me because I'm staying in Sydney at the moment. So I've literally just like, I don't have a washing machine and a dryer. So I'm just like, here you go, take this bag, help me out. Whereas I used to have a massive problem with that. I would never let anyone help me do anything, you know.
We also wanted to chat to you about the Andy Irons Foundation. Can you talk us through a little bit about what that is?
I started it when when I was making his documentary, because I realized that his story will help, you know, I mean, not only was he, you know, everything he was in surfing and all his accomplishments in that, it's more, you know, what he overcame to even, you know, accomplish all that he did was like incredible. And making his movie made me realize that his story can help people, you know, and it has. I mean, his story has like, I get so many emails a day. I have a hard time keeping up. I can't keep up. You know, it takes me a while to get back to people. But his story has like changed people's lives. You know, the movie I did, and I realized that you know, starting a foundation in his name would be amazing to his legacy, and also you know, I started here mostly in Hawaii. I feel like Hawaii, we don't have as much for the kids, and you know, some of the stuff that Andy suffered from growing up here on a small island, you know, having a learning disability or a lot of learning disabilities made it really, you know, his childhood really tough. So with my foundation, I've, you know, raised a ton of money and give to the elementary schools here so that they have correct programs to help kids like Andy. And I do a ton of stuff. I have like a list that's like crazy of things that I want to do here on the island. And I love it. I love the swim business. I do still a little do design for a company, but I'm just like loving my nonprofit life. Like I love it. I love giving back. And I actually just started school, which is crazy. I realized here that there's, you know, there's a need for kids psychologists. We have one on the island, and it's like a 2-year wait to even see her. So my dream is to become a psychologist, hopefully, and help either kids or maybe trauma. I don't know, but it's so like interesting to me. I'm loving it. I'm like such a little nerd. I like get A's and stuff. I'm like, oh my God. But I don't know. This is new, and I just started. But I think since COVID, it's made it really hard. I mean, I think we're like you guys. We're like on lockdown basically here still. I mean, it's awful. So, you know, a lot of everything has been.
Which island are you on?
Kauai. So out of all the islands, we're kind of the we're one of the most remote. So we're still very, you know, strict rules. But since that, I haven't been able to do much with my nonprofit. I mean, you know, I can't do stuff like I normally do. So that's why I started school.
Can't do it all.
No, I'm hoping this lifts.
Wow. You would just be the most soothing, amazing therapist. I love that so much. And far out, Andy would be so proud of you. Yeah, your voice. Yeah.
Your voice. I'd pay to see you.
My teacher, though, I'm so nervous. I'm such an emotional wreck that I feel like I'd probably cry, like for everybody. Like I don't even know if I'm strong enough for this, but I am. You know, but I'm loving it. It's so interesting, and I feel like, you know, what I've been through and the little things that I've done to just be here today is hope. You know, I can hopefully pass on those little tiny things and help people too, and kids, mostly kids. I just have like a love for kids and helping kids.
I love that so much. But I also wanted to ask you, and it's up to you if you want to dive into it at all, but of course, like you'll never move on from Andy, but moving forward with another person, how emotionally, like, yeah, I know it's been some time as well. Like, can you talk to me about that kind of journey, moving on with someone else, moving forward with another person?
Yeah, I never thought in a million years. Like I was so content with the love I had with Andy, that like my soul, I just felt like, oh, like I can die, like, or I can live to 90. And I feel I'm so lucky that I had that like love. Like, you know, I think most people search for that kind of love. And I was so, I was just really content. And my partner now, Pat, he came out of like beyond left field. I wasn't allowed to date. I don't know if you girls know that, but I was not allowed to date. The boys here are very protective. I don't know if it was they were protective over me, they were, but no one was good enough to be in Axel's life in their eyes. So I had I never dated. Like I mean, it just wasn't even a thing. But Pat, I actually, it's so crazy. This auntie here, she told me, she's like, I have a feeling that you're going to meet someone like, you know, right when you're not expecting it, and it's going to be exactly what you need. And I'd kind of be offended when people would say that. I'd be like, oh, I'm fine. Like, you know, I had Andy and I had that love, but I ran into him here. I've known him for, you know, since I've known Andy and through the industry, or just, you know, I've known him from afar. I didn't know him well, but I ran into him here at the farmer's market in Honolulu, just so random. And we just, he is probably like the most magical, amazing human, like that I don't even know how I got lucky twice. Like, I don't even know like how I even got lucky, like with him. Like, he's such an incredible man. And it's funny, like this, you know, when we talked for months, we talked for like 7 months before we even, you know, hung out. And he's probably like the only guy that all the boys were okay with. Like, nobody said anything like at all.
I love it. They let him
in. Oh yeah. I mean, there was just not even a choice, but he's that good of a person. I mean, he is like the most kind and patient. Like, he's so patient with, you know, I mean, he knew what I was going through. He saw it from a distance, but he's just so patient with everything, you know, even around like Andy holidays or like things, like he knows to give me, you know, my space and lets me do my thing. And he's just, I don't know. He's almost like too good to be true. Like, I'm always like, God, is this like for real? Did I really get this lucky again? And he's so loving and kind. Oh my God, he's like incredible, like amazing and giving and loving and just, I don't know. He was, you know, he was the one that is perfect for Axel. I mean, he's so straight and honest, you know, like even with Axel calls him dad. And he chose that. He chose to call him dad when we were dating. And
was it weird at first, that for you?
Yeah, you know, like I mean, it's, you know, I love that he calls him dad. That it just rolls off his tongue, you know, and sometimes he even says like, oh, am I, because he's like half Filipino, and he's like, do I have skin like dad? Like, am I half, you know, Filipino? And I'm like,
oh, that's so cute.
But we call Andy dad in heaven. So when we talk dad, he says, oh, my dad in heaven, oh, my dad in heaven, or my dad. So yeah, that was, you know, really shocking. And every time he says dad in front of even the boys here, they cry like you. They're like, oh, like it's just.
That makes me really emotional.
I know, but it's I'm so lucky. You know, I don't know how I got so lucky.
It's really special. It's really special that Axel does have that, and he has that father figure, and he feels comfortable and you feel comfortable. And it sounds like Pat is such an incredible person. And I mean, how many years after Andy passed did you meet him properly?
6 years.
Yeah. Wow.
6 years. Yeah. And you know what? I always thought like I was missing something. Like, I thought it was I did feel this missing, and I always thought like, oh my God, I was meant to have like more kids, and am I like, this is so sad, like I'm never gonna like have more kids. And like I was so devastated because I wanted like 100 kids. But my dog, sorry, but it wasn't it wasn't that. It was that I was missing like a soulmate and like love. And a partner. And the second I met Pat, that pain like left, and I was like, oh, like I think just like human nature, we're meant to have, you know, a companion, and you know, like we're not supposed to live alone. As much as like we're strong, we're like, you know, we think, you know, I bet you, and I hope, and I hope you don't hate me for saying this, but that like a wonderful man will come into your life. You know what I mean? Like it's what you deserve, and what is just, you know, I don't know. That's probably, you probably don't want to hear that right now, but I really, and it will happen, because you're beautiful and you're wonderful. And there's going to be some guy that's going to be able to handle all, you know, all your stuff, which isn't easy. You know, there's a special person. It's not going to be easy. But there's going to be one person that's going to be able to, you know, make it just love you no matter what, which I feel Pat does that for me. He like lets me be my weird self. And he like was okay with the garage thing. He really is.
I'm
He's
so happy for you. And I love that like you're almost feeling guided by Axel. Like if he's okay to call, or like if he's just naturally, it's falling out of his mouth to call him dad, like isn't that's I guess beautiful. It's like you're not forcing anything.
Amazing. Yeah.
Just like, you know, he's a kid and that's what's naturally happened.
And he wants that, and he's so proud to have like two dads, you know, like he's so like, and it kills me. He's like, you know, people say something and he's like, oh, I have two dads, like one in heaven and one here, and I'm just like, oh, like, but he's so, you know, so proud. But you know, I think
he's so cute. What I've heard about, you know, like with grief and moving forward is that it's not like if you move forward with someone else, you don't love that other person. It's that your heart literally can grow and grow and grow, so you can just love more and you've got more love to give, and it just expands. Because I struggle with the thought of ever being with someone else, because I'm like, that's fucking cheating. Like I'm still with Chum, we're gonna break up. But like I still love him so much, but I guess one day like I'll somehow love someone else as well. And that's just a weird thought, but like it makes sense because our hearts are just a muscle, and we can just keep giving, right?
That's so true.
I'm fucked today.
You guys are so unbelievably strong. I literally admire every single like
Minnie, wake up! I need a cuddle.
Oh, I've always said that I've needed Axel way more than he's ever needed me. Like I feel like we need them way more than
I hope that we all get to meet up one day and have like a big.
I want to hug you.
I want to meet Axel.
Too. I feel like you know, all my Australian girlfriends. I used to live in Australia all of 2009 or 8. 2008, 9. I just love it there. All my Australian girlfriends tell me I have the heart of an Australian, which I don't know what that means, but I love it there.
Yeah, you seem like you fit in here.
Lyndie, thank you so much for this, honestly. Like this has been such an amazing episode, and like Ellidy and I have both been so actually nervous but so excited to speak to you, because I mean, for me personally, watching Ellidy go through all this, and like I've watched your journey from afar, and I just knew that there was so many things in similarities, and even talking to you both today, we've even discovered even more, and it's so crazy how your journeys are so similar but obviously very different. But thank you so much for giving your time. I know that Ellidy, I think, has found a new best widow friend. She's got such a great support crew.
So we will put the link to Lyndie's documentary, Kissed by God, where you can learn a lot about Andy's life. It's the most beautiful and sad movie ever. You'll need a box of tissues. And we'll also put the link to the Andy Irons Foundation. But yeah, honestly, like I don't think you like truly don't understand how much you've impacted and inspired me on the road I'm on now. Like even before Chumpy passed away, I thought you were just a fucking force and amazing, and like you'd never believe how much I look up to you now. So I feel starstruck that you came on, and this has just been amazing. Thank you so much. I hope this has helped other widows and not only just me, and just your story is incredible. So thank you so much for coming on, Lyndie.
Oh, thank you. It was an honor. I loved every minute of it. And hopefully we get to see you guys in real life one day. Get to come to Hawaii.
Yes, I can't wait for a hug in Kauai.